I'm going to share this because the concerned citizens, the concerned citizens, I'm going to start calling them that instead of the peanut gallery, maybe the peanut gallery, but the concerned citizens made me think about this with regards to, um, yeah, you know how they say we have blind spots. So this is the beauty of love and the goodness of love and the joys of love and the workings of love, but also at the same time it's the um it is the challenges of love, um the long suffering, the fair bearing, and the patience of love, right? Because it's like when it comes down to the come down, you families, it's like, okay, we're all married to Elohim. I'm speaking to believers. We're all married to Elohim. So you can understand what I mean. Everything always comes back to Elohim and Messiah, and I'm always gonna talk in that way. So that's why I say for this channel and for this place and these spaces, for those who are believers, because I'm always gonna talk about belief. If you are offended by belief, if you're offended by the word, if you're offended by me speaking about Messiah or Elohim, then you're not gonna want to be necessarily hear that. And so I'm just forewarning you up hand. I'm not saying you can't listen to it, but I'm not going to be responsible or be accountable to if you listen to it and you don't like it, and I've already forewarned you in that regard. Or also, I'm not going to be accountable for the part that's your responsibility as guarding your own gates, guarding your ear gates, your eye gates, all of that kind of stuff. So now that responsibility part falls on you. My responsibility, I'm just about to flow and be who Elohim made me. and express what was given to me. Now, the beauty of love and the challenge of it is this. This is happens in the world and it happens in all things. We're married with Elohim. We're married with Messiah. That marriage is everything. It's in when you have a marriage with your spouse. It's in the relationships with person to person. It's in the work. It's in family, And so, in the way, what I mean by that, let me break it down, is so the interactions and the things that I learned from Elohim. I have one father, he's Elohim. I have one teacher, he's Elohim. I say that because he's always above it. He feeds me. He feeds me and he's giving me an understanding, right? And he will teach me something as a child, and he will teach me all throughout my life, and he'll reinforce it, and give a greater understanding, get a greater revelation. Or he will, the Ruach HaKodesh, the set apart Ruach of truth, will then come in and remind me of things in the moment, in the present, and when they're presently necessary. So, for example, I could schedule something with Elohim, my husband, and make plans. And we make plans and we're doing it and we are consistent with it and we're following through on it and we're checking in with each other and we're communicating. And hey, honey, how's your day? How's your week going? How's your schedule? Oh, you got this work plan and I got this work plan. Oh, and we're gonna combine our days, and we'll have date night this day. And oh, we'll get together and we'll do Bible study this day. And oh, we'll get together and do fellowship this time. And oh, we'll come together and we'll have our praise and worship time this, and then okay, you have your time to yourself during this time, and then we have this time for work, and we have this time for family, and we have this time for friends or other people or other things that we do. And so what keeps that flowing, what keeps that in harmony, what keeps that in balance is our continual coming back together, coming back in fellowship, coming back in communications, coming back and keeping an understanding and a mutual understanding and mutual agreement with each other. Now, if I were to say, I want you to come to, I know that you're a man, but we're going to have this women's fellowship, and I want a man to be there and have the perspective, but I don't give you the date and the time, then isn't that going to be when I want you to show up or don't want you to show up, or say, hey, you never ever showed up to my women's fellowship and stuff, but then you're like, but you never gave me the date and the time. You didn't truly give me the opportunity to come and be involved or come and participate or come and support. And then on the other side, it's like, if I had a gathering and I was like, I don't really want my husband to be there, I'm not even going to tell him about it. I'm going to withhold. I'm not going to tell him the time and the day. It's the same thing. And so, like, even when that happens in the community, Or I say, we're going to have this fellowship. We're going to be talking about the topic of mm, miscommunications. For example, say we're talking about the miscommunications, and then I get in there. I never informed my husband. I didn't prepare him in advance, and then you get there, you feel blindsided, like, man, I could have prepared. And he's like, later on, I could have prepared for this. Honey, you could have let me know about this, and I could have, kind of taken some time to think about it, and so that I could present and provide something that was really going to add to that time and that space in that moment. But without that, I didn't get the opportunity to do that because, if you withhold some information from me, vice versa, if they withhold some information from me. So that's why I say it's like in the everyday life and in the everyday things. You got scheduling, and you can prepare in advance. You can check with somebody in advance, and you can let them know, and you're given the opportunity for them to participate, for them to show up, to be whole and complete, for them to be at the most optimal efficiency, the most functionality that they can be. But that is if you are like you're communicating and you're interacting and you're bringing it forth and you're presenting and you're doing it utmost to be. And that's, for me, that's like the loving your neighbor as yourself, treating your neighbor as yourself. I'm a person who's naturally gifted with some of the abilities of administration, organization, and things like that. So if I see the schedule, hey, maybe I got to link up with 2 other people today, but I need to know what their schedules are with regards to when are our schedules and stuff going to cross over, when are we going to be able to participate in fellowship with one another, when is this going to be available, and in advance. Or if I'm taking a trip on the road and, oh, you know what, I might be driving and I'm going to the beach, and maybe this is going to be a couple of hours, and maybe I want to pack a lunch, and maybe I want to pack some snacks, and maybe I want to do this and do that. Like, just being able to be not just prepared, but be able to show up and be informed. It's the same thing if someone invites me, but they withhold. And so it's the same thing also in society. Some of the complaints and things we see as the people is, were you informed? Was the government informing you? Did they inform you of the options that you have for your businesses, for your homes, for your tax breaks, for different things like that? Or was it like, oh no, we're going to keep this a hush hush and a secret, and it's only for the chosen few? Elohim will give you the head of manna, but he says those who seek will find, those who ask shall receive, and those who knock, the door will be open to you. So that's the thing about what I love about Elohim, the marriage with him, which is how it should be with ourselves, how it should be with other people, how it should be within this society, in the world. It should reflect, it should mirror him. Messiah is the standard. So when he comes to me, he's my best friend. And he doesn't withhold anything from me. When he comes to me and he shows himself to me completely, it's like my spouse, like, we're all in this together. We're all in. We have the Lord, so we have the communion, we're all in. And we have made the commitment and agreement to love each other. And you're all in for everything. That's the marriage. That's the marriage with Elohim. That's the marriage with your spouse. That's the relationship with your family and your children. And sometimes people are like, well, I want to do away with my children. Messiah, Elohim is like, I didn't do away with my word and my law. It remains and it's fulfilled until it's fulfilled. Not one jot, not one tittle shall fall away till it all be fulfilled. So you don't do away with your children like, oh, today I love you and tomorrow I don't. Today I love my spouse, tomorrow I don't. Oh, today we had an argument and tomorrow I don't love you. And even when it comes to the work of Elohim and the work of your hands and the cause, today I'm in it and tomorrow I'm not. The seasons may change and you may have seasons of war, but does that mean that the kingdom is no more? The kingdom is still the kingdom. You may have a season of healing, but does that mean the kingdom is no more because you're healing? Does that mean it stopped? Even if you see things happening under the surface and under the ground, like at the plants, even if it's not the season where the flowers are blooming, does that mean the plant is not still there? Even if it's the season where the stalk is growing and there's no flowering yet, but you're past the soil, does that mean that the plant isn't still there, or that the kingdom isn't there? The kingdom is still here. Elohim is still here. His access is still here. His presence is still here. So whether it's the season of healing, whether it's the season of strengthening, whether it's the season of faithfulness, whether it's the season of long suffering, whether it's the season of forbearing, whether it's the season of enduring, whether it's the season of patience, it's still, the kingdom is still there. So they say the U.S. is a young nation. The U.S. is still here, but it's also working. Elohim is doing a work on the inner person, just like it is with it in marriage. You're doing the inner work. So that what's on the outside the light will shine forth from the inside to the out. So it's like, we're not withholding. With Elohim, it's like, how do we be like that with Elohim, or how do we be like that intimately with our children or our spouse or our family or inside our actual house? But then we think it's strange when we are meant to be that way and build that closeness and give ourselves amongst the fellowship of the brethren, or when it is the cause of Elohim, or when it is the people of Elohim. It's not strange. And that's why on this channel, I'm like, I will show forth that, Father, as you give me the ability to not withhold. You don't withhold from me, Elohim, so I won't withhold from you. You are naked before me, Elohim, so I will be naked before you. You are not fake, Father, meaning like he shows him his true self. He is truth to me. And therefore, I want to show my true self in truth to him. I don't want to mask it. I don't want to hide it. I don't want to say, oh, I can't show my ethnicity in this space. Oh, I can't speak about my belief in this space. Oh, I have to censor my words and my language in this space because I can't speak over here like I speak with the Father. No, I want to speak over here and there and everywhere like I speak with the Father. I want to show up here and there and everywhere like I show up with the Father. I want to be as I am and Elohim made me to be in every space and everywhere as I am with the Father. I want to walk and roam the earth as Adam and Yahuah did in the beginning, and as it was from the beginning with Elohim, as it was in the Yarden, that they were naked and all was naked before Elohim and unashamed. And I'm naked before Elohim, and I'm unashamed, and I'm naked before myself, and I'm unashamed, and I'm naked before my brethren and my kinfolk in the ecclesia, the body, the Talmudim, and the Kodashim, and I'm unashamed. I don't want to put I have to censor here, I have to do this language here and there. There are different languages and there are different generations, and there's a different understanding, the revelation, and Elohim gives that to help us to operate together. But understanding how that is also, that goes out through every area. So, and I prayed yesterday after, yes, there's moments where I'm angry with legislation or with leadership or with government or different things like that, because Elohim has appointed these things for his cause as well. And so it is best, and it's in everyone's best interest when we do the way of Elohim, because it benefits the whole world. It benefits everyone. And when we make choices as people not to do that, yeah, others suffer. When one suffers, all suffers. That's how it is around the world, because that is the laws of recreation from Elohim. But I just appreciate Elohim's way and his order of doing that, that we see that mirrored. What we see in a person-to-person relationship with a person who's inside your house, with your kid, with your spouse, with your friend, on your job, with government, it goes up and down all around, even to the government. Yes, it goes around even with regards to the government. And we see that reflection. It says we're made in Elohim's image, and we're seeing us reflect his image, but we're also seeing that we're being reflected throughout every relationship. So when you have a marriage with Elohim, that's being reflected in your actual marriage. When you have a marriage with Elohim, that's being reflected in the relationship with your children. When you have a marriage with Elohim, that's reflected with the babies and the little ones. When you have the marriage with Elohim, that's reflected in the work of your hands. When you have the marriage of Elohim, it's reflected in the body, in the fellowship. When you have the marriage with Elohim, it is reflected in the earth. When you have a marriage with Elohim, it's reflected in leadership and in governing and in overseeing. And so that is what Elohim, that is what he's constantly showing us. Like the same thing that has it at the top, at the head. And that's why I kept seeing these people that kept speaking to me like they were out of position. And it's like, you're not You're at a position in that you're trying to speak to my head. Who is my head? My husband. Who is my head? The Ruach and Messiah and Elohim. Those four are the head over me. Elohim is a covering over me. Elohim is a covering over me and my spouse. And so when you're trying to talk to the head, you need to speak to those put those in the position as the head. But when you're trying to come in, and that's where there's other times where it's like the opposition is trying to come against that, it's like you're coming against the seat and coming against the position of Elohim and of Messiah and my husband. That's not righteous. You know what I mean? That's not righteous. You're not supposed to be trying to come in against the position of Elohim, the throne of Elohim, and the seat of Elohim, the position of Messiah, the throne of Messiah, and the seat of Messiah. No. In that of he placed a man above me. So they are the covering above me. Just as a woman is a crown to her husband, and just as a man and woman are one, and just as we are one with Messiah, just as we are one with the Father. And so he makes his home in us. It is the home. Just as it's the closest in a home, you might have conversations. You might have moments, like I said, you have healing moments, you have challenging moments, you have moments where you challenge one another, iron sharpen iron. You might have moments where you argue, you have moments where you are laughing, you have moments where you just relaxing, you just at rest, you still your peace, moments where you're going on a walk together, moments where you are working together, moments where you are okay, we each doing this and doing that, moments where you're both fulfilling the cause of Elohim, where you're being fruitful, you're multiplying, moments where you're reproducing, moments where you're birthing things that are new and fresh, moments where you're moving and you're flowing, all of that. And so that is also with the body, but also with creation. And we're seeing that with the United States, we're seeing that with the world. He's doing the same thing. The world is under Elohim's authority. He is the head. And he always works in the inside of the body. He always works inside the house. He always works from the inside out. He's always moving and doing things for the good of the people. He's always considering all prayers at all times. You know what I mean? He's always considering every moving part of the body. Like as the parents of the house and as the mother of the house, it's like, aren't you considering as the word says, you're considering the things for your husband, and you're considering things for Messiah's cause as well, for Elohim's cause as well. And a husband likewise thinks about the things and how to please his wife and the things of the world. And so you're considering and you're operating in those things. And it's just like the other part of that is like, that's what's happening with government though. There's what would happen if Elohim would withhold information from us? How does that not make the children and the people feel? What it's same with local and state and government. When you're going to events or there are public things to keep the public informed, but if the government withheld from keeping the public informed, then where is that building of public trust? If the government or local state and things like that withheld from, hey, we have these events coming up or we have these meetings, and they say, oh, you don't belong in this meeting. Oh, we won't keep you informed of this meeting. Oh, we canceled the meeting, or we'll start having secret meetings. How does then that create public trust? If Elohim was having secret meetings and not including me in those meetings, then how would I be building closer trust and closer relations? Same thing with your spouse, same thing within your household, same thing with your children, same thing with yourself in their relationship with Elohim. If you start saying you don't belong here, then what trust is built up there? If you start saying, oh well, I have secret meetings, and what trust is built up there? If you start saying, if Elohim was saying to me, I'm just trying to teach you something, I'm just trying to show you how to endure, I'm just trying to train you, if you would hear, if you would listen, but then he wasn't communicating with me. If he knew I was a auditory learner and he was like, I'm not going to ever communicate with you in that way, I'm going to communicate with you in that way, then I would be like, well, Elohim, how are you helping me? Or how are you helping you help me? Or how are you helping you? If you know that this is the way and you're not doing the way, if we know that Messiah is the way and we're not walking in the way of Messiah, He is not any different than the commitment and covenant made with me and my spouse is the same covenant and commitment made with me and Elohim. So when he was like, when we are all in with Elohim, I'm all in with my spouse. When Elohim says, when Messiah says, everybody got to take up their stake and walk. Same thing in the marriage. When Elohim said, you have to be willing to forsake all for me. Leave your dad and your mom and your brother and your sister and even children at times for the sake of the reign in the kingdom, because he's above that. Now, that is the one thing that is different. We never put anything, not even our spouse, above Elohim. Which is why I say he is the position of the head, the highest head, Elohim, Messiah, the Ruach. Then the spouse. Then my husband, because I'm the female, right? I'm the woman. I'm the wife. Then my husband. And so when it's like you speak to my husband or you speak to Elohim as my head, if the spouse or the children are out of whack, then who do you go and who do you go tell on them to? Who do you expose them? You tell them to. After you've gone into the person and done the biblical process of going to the person, you continue to go back and continue to go back and continue to reason. Then you bring 2 or 3 witnesses. Then you bring it before the true assembly of your assembly. You constantly, Elohim is in the midst of all of that. He always the one that's going to go to. So you always telling everybody to him. But then I'll go through the process of, hey, if it's a public thing, then I'll do it publicly. Hey, if it's inside the house, I do it inside the house. Hey, if it's between you and me, I keep going to you and me. And he doesn't say you never stop. The scripture and an explanation of brethren and brother and family, it doesn't say you never stop. It doesn't say you give up. Does Elohim give up on us? So Messiah is the standard. He's the standard. He shows us where he fellowships and where he doesn't, whom he fellowships with and who he doesn't, what he likes and what he doesn't, what he agrees with and what he doesn't. That's why I was like, I love him and I love when he teaches me, because he's my teacher. So when somebody else is trying to be my teacher, I'm like, you're in the wrong position. You're not my teacher. I got one. The word said that. Messiah said you got one teacher. And anytime somebody tries to overthrow Elohim as my teacher, it's disorder, disarray, dysfunction, and chaos. But Elohim is still in the center of me and in me, in the peace that's like, no, I'm your foundation. I'm your teacher. And then there's the same thing when it comes to him feeding me. It's the same thing when it comes to him discipling. It's the same thing when it comes to him being my father. If I ever try to put somebody else above the father as my father, it's out of whack. It's out of balance, because he's the only father. It doesn't mean I don't give honor to my dad and my mom, but I also have been come out from my, I'm not under the direct authority of my parents. Why? Because I'm a married woman. In the sight of Elohim, when he's blended you in Ruach and made you married, your spouse is the person you're one with and blended in Ruach. But Elohim is always, no matter what, even if you're a baby, from the time you were born through all the eternity, he is the authority above. And so when something is trying to take that position, overthrow his position, if anything tries to overthrow, tries to touch his throne, try to sit in his seat and sit on the throne, it's like, no. That high place belongs to Elohim. The high place belongs to Elohim. That's where it's not arrogance, it's not pride, it's my confidence and my trust. It's like, oh, I believe what I'm saying is right. It's that I know what Elohim said is right, is truth. I know he's always true. And I know it is right for me to always accept his truth. And this is another example of that, where the word talks about judgment so much and judging righteously so much. People quote the one scripture that you're not supposed to judge unless it says, but if you judge, the same measure you meet will be measured back to you. So know that, when you judge, it's going to be measured back to you. A person who's judging righteously, as the word tells you to do over 20 times, you're supposed to do that. And people, I don't have to hide that. Like, that's why I'm like, I'm not going to hide it. I'm going to be naked that, yes, I'm judging, and I'm judging righteously, because it says to judge, and it says judge every matter. And just as it tells us to test the spirits, Elohim, I'm not in position to test man. That's Elohim's position. But I'm in position to test spirits. So if it's a spirit of anger, spirit of jealousy, spirit of lasciviousness, spirit of perversity, I'm there to be able to test it in every single matter, in every situation. Like, that's not a spirit of Elohim. That's not the Ruach. The Ruach of Elohim is what? It includes wisdom. That's a Ruach and part of the Ruach of Elohim. It includes understanding. It includes long suffering. It includes patience. So many people bring up the kindness, right? It includes those things. It includes believing all. It includes hoping. It hopes. I believe everything Elohim has said because it's truth. I hope for everything he said. I'm enduring for his cause and what he said. So anyway, and I'm not adding to that thing. I'm just explaining what I'm doing. But I'm seeing that reflected all throughout. He always gives, and this is Elohim too. He doesn't withhold a thing, so why would I? He's naked before me, so why would I not be naked before him? And why would I not have the safety and the protection and comfort to be naked before my brethren, my kinfolk, my husband, my children, my family in that way? That I'm naked before him. There are more things, more depths in intimacy that he will get that no one else would get. Why? Because he's the highest, and there's no idols, there's no higher, there's no Elohim above him. Not even your children, not even your spouse will be above him. You will not love them or even yourself more than you love him. You will love him more than you love everything else. You will love him with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your being, with all your strength, with all your resources. So anytime something is trying to make you love him with all your heart, with all your mind, if something's trying to take your love, put the love of him more in your heart, like love him, you're supposed to love him more than anything else, even in your heart. So if something tries to take that position, it's out of position, it's out of way. If something tries to take the position of loving him in your mind even more, no, I love Elohim in my mind more than I love. This is his position. Don't try to get out of position and get out of whack and get out of authority. No. Get on back down where you belong. And so it's kind of a feeling when people are like, don't give yourself in full force. Don't give and I don't mean a forcefulness, but don't give yourself in your fullest capacity. And sometimes it's people are like, dial it down. You're being too strong. But no, I'm like, I'm gonna let the river that's in me, that's flowing out, flow freely. I'm not gonna hold it back. I'm not going to suppress it. I'm not going to stop it. I'm not going to hinder it. I'm not going to cease it. I'm not going to censor it. I will let it pour out of its natural abundance. I won't stifle it. I don't do it with Elohim, so why would I do it in any other place? I'm free to be that way in earth and above the earth and about the earth in every way in the ordained as he did. Yeah, free to do it. Free to be who Elohim created me to be, as it has been from the beginning of creation. And Elohim has been the same, right? Because he changes not. So that is the same. I really not only feel like that, but I genuinely believe it. And Messiah's word, as I've been enjoying Messiah and just reflecting on listening to the Nazarene and halftime and with that. And everything he always gives me is right on time, but it's not and he said, don't speak about things you don't honestly believe in. And I agree with that. The reason I've already felt like that and done that and lived that out was because Elohim is in me. And his word didn't return void and was true. And so then even before I read the book, in those specific words of Messiah, what was the first time I read it? A couple of years ago. And hearing it again this week is just always right on time. So the reality is truth, because I'm not talking about no abstract reality, but truth anyway. The truth is, yes, why would I want to be different from place to place, situation to situation, in the sense that a rose is always a rose no matter where you put it, right? A rose is going to always be a rose, even when it's in different soil, even when it adjusts and adapted to soil, even in a different climate, even in a different season, even in a different location around the road, it's still a rose. So why would I not be the same? Messiah is the standard, and the standard for living and the way to go. And he was Messiah no matter where he went. He was always Yahusha. He was always who Elohim created him to be. He did not have to put on a different personality, behavior, language. Yeah, there's actually language when you're speaking with people who don't speak English, or speaking with someone who only speaks Spanish, or someone who speaks Hindi, or someone who speaks Farsi, or someone who speaks Igbo. Like it's different. However, he wasn't different. He remained the same. He never changed. And he was the same from the beginning to the end. He already had life within him from the beginning, before time began, when he was Melchizedek, when he was placed into his mother's womb and became the seed, when the star from the Shemaim fell on the day of his birth, and when he was exalted, and when he was elevated, and Elohim's name was esteemed, and when he rose from the grave, and when he ascended, and when he will return. And I really believe it kind of simplifies life for all of us. I don't mean it as an excuse to just hurt and harm, but as an excuse to be free. Not as an excuse, but as a reason. As a reason to be free. And Elohim is a good father that oversees and is over us and covers us. And it's like, I see who you are. I already know who you are. You don't have to, I'm not afraid of your emotions. I'm not afraid of your feelings. I'm not afraid of when you're strong. I'm not afraid when you're pouring out in your fullness of strength. I'm not afraid when you're showing up at 100%. I'm not afraid when you're showing up at 10%. I'm not going to not call you out when you're showing up at only 10, 20, 30%. And even if the circumstance requires you or needs you or is supposed to be at 100%. But I'm not going to. There's times where I'm going to have compassion and leniency upon it, and there's times where I'm not. There's times where I'm definitely going to hate the things that are sinner, that are not aligned, that are out of position and placement, and I'm going to turn my head away from it. Like Elohim does. It were to do if I was being disobedient and he needed to discipline me and be like, I'm going to turn my head to the side. I'm going to turn my head away. Let you get yourself together. Or, and at times where it's like, I'm with you. I'm here. Let me come lay in bed. Let me come hold you. Let me come cover you. Let me come comfort you like the Ruach is the comforter. And let me wrap myself around you like a blanket to comfort you like a comforter. And then there's times where it's like, oh no, it's time for war. Pull out the sword. Take it out of its sheath. It's time to start slicing and dicing. It's time to start dividing. It's time to start piercing through all of that. Pierce through the darkness, pierce through the bone, through the marrow. Go through it all. Slice it. Let me cut you asunder. Cut it asunder. Right down the middle of this thing that doesn't belong. But yeah, anyway. I see and understand, and I know that people see it too, happening throughout the world and in every circumstance and situation. Government, Elohim, it's a lie. It's a lie. The lie is there is separation between belief, between the ecclesia, between Elohim and the people and the nations. It's not. There is no nation that is without Elohim in the midst of it, in the sense that if there is life, there can be no life without Elohim. There can be no right ruling without Elohim. There cannot be actually the workings of creation, the rivers and the seas and the grass and things without Elohim. So even when people don't agree with Elohim, his word is at work and it doesn't return void regardless. It doesn't need our approval. The word never needs our approval to be alive and active. It's always going to be active. So when he's working on the inside of his house, in the home, he is actually reflecting in individual people, in individual households, in the spiritual house, in his ruach, in the shemaim, and on earth, in the governing and in leadership. And so he's like, look, if you withhold, what is the result of that? If I don't withhold, what is the result of that? If you withhold from having a meeting, if you tell people don't belong and show up or this or that, or they want to be a part of participating, let's gather, let's get together publicly, let's do this and do that. Or well, this person came up and they inquired too much. They challenged me too much. They sharpened me too much. They want to know too much. They ask too many questions. Does Elohim say that to you? You ask too many questions. Does he said, knock in the door will we open, but we'll shut the door. But does he shut the door? He might shut the door if you reject. But he shut the door if you come with, this is purity and sincerity. And honesty and truth. Like David did, a man after his heart. Does he shut the door? He said, you seek and you will find. Sometimes in the world we'll seek things and people act like I get to withhold it from you. And we'll do that at times as a discipline, right? I'll discipline you by withholding the thing that you want until you actually do as a child, right? Like when you're dealing with your child. Hey, you want to go to this party, but you didn't clean up your room. You haven't been cleaning and maintaining it all week. I'm going to withhold the thing that you want the most until you do this thing. And so when people try to do that with me, but Elohim on the flip side has said the other thing. They're like, it's you who's been arrogant, you who's been in pride. No, he said it's the other way around. You who's trying to do this and do that. No, you trying to take over Elohim and be the head above Elohim. That's what he said to me. And they're like, no, it's you. You want to be right. You don't got to be right all the time. Or you got to be, actually, where the word says we are supposed to be Kodesh. We are supposed to be unspotted from the world. My focus we are supposed to heed the conviction. And that was the other thing. If I'm feeling conviction about something Elohim said to me, don't need to get mad at the person or the thing that reminded me of the conviction and be like, well, you're just condemning me. No, I felt conviction because Elohim already told me this. And I'm doing what I'm going to do what I was supposed to do anyway, that I knew I was supposed to do it. I'm not going to be like, well, you're holding it up and you're delaying yourself. I'm not. Elohim did not tell me I'm delayed. I'm not waiting on something. I'm not holding myself up. If somebody else is withholding, it's not me. And then it's not on me that they're withholding, vice versa. But you're withholding, helping me. Who is supposed to communicate? That was the other thing I was experiencing. Yeah, people withholding, you're withholding information. Are you supposed to be withholding information from the public in this regard? Or is it supposed to be something you're supposed to be giving so that they can actually apply it and have harmony and work and function? There's meetings. Are we supposed to be withholding the time and then making it a secret meeting so that people don't actually get the thing that they need? Are we supposed to be allowing there to be that access so they get what they need so they can live and function? I don't want to have, I had these things and this person was too interactive for me, so I'm not going to put them on the list next time. Did Elohim tell me not to do that? Did Elohim say, other people were said to me at times, like before in the past, like, we're trying to teach you something. I'm trying to, if you would just listen, if you would just hear, if you just do this. Well, what about if you would just communicate in a way where I was like, this is best for me to receive communications. If I say, hey, it's great for you to email me, and you like, I ain't never going to email you, I'm going to just keep sending you text messages. Are you helping me help you? Are you helping me help me? Are you helping me help the situation and circumstances? Are we working together? Are we truly reasoning together? Are we truly trying to get it on track? Are we truly trying to work it out? If you say, I need to have face-to-face, I need to do hands-on, I need a audio, don't send me a hard copy of your book. Send me your audio. If I send you a hard copy and you said send me an audio, do you think, should I expect you to read it? Or do I expect that you might have a schedule, or you might have a business, or you might just have a natural aptitude where hearing it is better than you looking at it and reading it with your eyes? So it's like, then would I be helping you, and am I heeding it? Or if I say, hey, you sent me this message, it's not clear, I don't understand it, and you like figure it out for yourself, okay, is that going to then be open to interpretation? Elohim doesn't leave things very open to interpretation with me in a relationship. Neither does Messiah. He makes it clear. If I can't hear, Father, if he says something to me and like, Abba, I didn't hear that clearly, can you repeat that? Do you think that he's going to repeat it? Or do you think that he's going to be like, oh, well, figure it out? Gideon did that, right? When he asked him, he did it 3 times. Don't be mad at me, but I want to know, can you wet this sheep's cloth again? Let one side be wet, let one side be dry. I know it was you. And he tested him, because Elohim does say you can try me. Try me if I won't prove my word right, if I won't do what I said, right? So he tried him. Abraham did the same thing. When he was like, don't be mad at me. Who am I to talk to Elohim? But I got this question about Sodom and Gomorrah. I got this question about you saving the city, because you know Lot's there. And you know I'm supposed to be looking out for Lot, because you know my dad told me take him with me and keep an eye out for him and all these things. And you know I didn't have to, you sent me in here to help rescue him a number of times. You saved him, but you sent me to help rescue him. And so what about the city now? I know he got about at least 20 people in his family. Are you going to destroy the city for 50 people? How many righteous people would you save a city for? And he went all the way down to 10. If there were 10, I would not destroy the city. But he also kept his word to Abraham in general, and to the seed, and to the promise, and to the bloodline, and to the fact that he counted Lot as under his protection as well. Like he was of Elohim as well. So he saved him. And what if he didn't? What if he didn't keep his word? What if he didn't keep his promises? What if he withheld from us? What if when we went and asked and we never got? And sometimes people might feel like that. Like, I'm asking and I'm not getting no answer. I'm not getting no prayers. I don't hear you. You don't hear me. You're not doing this. You're not doing that. Is it? Is he giving you answers? Is he giving you witnesses? Is he giving what is needed? Does he actually withhold? For my personal relationship with Elohim, he doesn't. He always, if I ask, there's an answer. Even when he tells me something, it's not what I need to know, or not right now, or in this time, or hold on. He always, if I'm seeking, I don't get nothing in return. So if I'm asking for bread, if I'm seeking, he's not like, oh, well, you saw it, keep seeking until you find it yourself. No. He doesn't make it more unnecessarily difficult, hard than it needs to be. And that's why people are like, live into the letter. Oh, listen, if that is hard for you as Elohim, as Messiah has taught me, I'm in Elohim's image, and I'm going to be perfect as my Father is perfect. I'm called to that in my particular position in the body. It's not heavy for me. It's not more than I can bear. It's not a burden for me. And that's why I said, this is my walk with. This is what I'm called to do. This is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm convicted by. And what I'm convicted by, I'm going to abide by. I'm not going to be like, oh no, that's just condemnation. No, I'm going to abide by it, because I'll be convicted if I don't do what I know I am supposed to do, according to the standard that he set for me. But also in the word, when he says that, when Messiah talks about those things, it's not too hard for you. Be perfect as your Father is perfect. And because he's the one that's doing the good work in you anyway, and seeing it through to completion. It's not too hard for me to do that. It's not too hard for me to take up my stake and walk. It's not too hard for me to follow Messiah. It's not too hard for me to to mirror him and to do what I see him do what I see the Father do. I do what I see the Father do. It's not too difficult for me. Yes. So I was continuing on. It's not too difficult. And I don't mean I don't live to the letter of the law, meaning like obviously I'm not out here doing animal sacrifices. I'm not doing the things that Messiah fulfilled because he came and was the atonement. However, when it says keep my commands, when it says to revere Elohim, to fear Elohim, I am doing that. When it says if my heart does not condemn me, when it says if you are convicted by something, guess what? I'm not going to be like, oh, Elohim, I was convicted not to do this thing. Let me go ahead and do it anyway. Or like, I'm convicted that the word says, do not partake in this and let me go partake in it anyway. No. No, 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 no. So when it, just coming back around to everything reflects Elohim. Life was created through Elohim. The word was created through Elohim. The earth was created through Elohim. Men and women were created through Elohim. The heavens, the Shemaim was created through Elohim. It all comes back to the Father. And so, even what we see happening, he reigns on the just and the unjust. So, you see these things happening. You understand it. He's reigning on the just and the unjust. He's working things together for the good. He's answering prayers. But we will see how he protects those whom he loves. He preserves his people. And there are those who make choices and decisions to go forth and do what they desire to do apart from Elohim. I just saw this picture that someone put up there, and it was two sides. And one side said, believe God, and then the other side said obey God. The narrow path had like 4 people on it who were walking that path and obey God. The other path, the broad path that leads into destruction, had a multitude of people, a numerous line of people that believe God, but they weren't the ones obeying God. Obedience is better than sacrifice, and Messiah was a sacrifice, and there will be things that we're doing in sacrifice, but it's not also sacrifice, but it's things we're supposed to do. So when Messiah says to the master, applaud the servant who does the thing that he's supposed to do. Does he do the thing that he's supposed to do? And so he's not applauding the things of necessarily like, you are supposed to do this. You're supposed to love me. You're supposed to keep my commands. You're supposed to revere me. You're supposed to walk in the way. You're supposed to live out the truth. You're supposed to follow and believe. You're supposed to do and be who I created you to be. You're supposed to walk in my nature. You're supposed to follow my son. You're supposed to be made in my image. When we see these things being reflected through government and such, what happens when they withhold information, losing the vaccinations and things as an example, an easy or common example, when it's withhold through media, when it's withhold, or when it is they're trying to train you in their way versus you being trained in Messiah's way, versus you being trained in the way of Elohim. It allows us to understand the word is law. The word is truth. The word is right ruling. The word is the work in the order of creation. And you can follow that way, or you can follow in the way of the world. In the original context of even this nation, for example, the founding of it with regards to law that was created is based upon the word. Original context and context is supposed to point us back to Elohim. All things will come from Elohim and point us back to Elohim. And when we have the eyes to see what he sees and how he sees it, or when we have the heart open to see that and receive it, even when he is doing a move where he's preparing for the return of his son, but like he's preparing for the revelation, or he's preparing for the pouring out of his ruach upon all flesh, or he has been doing that and he's going to continue to do that, or yes, there are so many things that are happening and everything's happening all at once, or he's fulfilling prophecies, and he's fulfilling revelations, and he's fulfilling the prophecies of the prophets of old, and even the ones of now that he set forth. And when he's moving and he's doing all of these things, and he's putting out the spirit of judgment and the spirit of burning, but that is for the good, for his goodness, the cleansing. It is to bring those into repentance who will repent, but it's also to point out those who don't want to obey him, who don't love him, who don't follow in his way. And so that is the esteem and the awe of Elohim, that he is over all of that and working it all together, and working it together for the good. And what is the good? He is the good. And so whether people understand it, whether people believe it, whether people agree with it, he's still over it. He was the creator, and creation does not exist without him. Life is not without him. Good is not without him. Love is not without him. Perfect love is not without him. Protection is not without him. And the understanding and the learning is not present without him. So I just thank you, Father. I thank you that you continue to let your desires be done on earth as they are in the Shemaim. Your word continues to not return void, even when you say the prophet is not appreciated in his hometown. And so you're allowing even your believers to experience what you said. Love is proven. The love we have for you is proven when you sent Moshe to send them to be rescued, and you saved them through your hand and through using Moshe as a vessel. And you utilize Pharaoh to harden his heart to be, so your name would be esteemed in that time. And then you set your people free from the captivity and the bondage and the complacencies and the familiarity and just getting used to so much pleasure and so much luxury that they were complacent and stuff, and that they were in bondage and captivity. And you brought them out to set them free, but you also brought them into the wilderness to show if they were following your way, if they would obey you. And that meant like the obedience to you and proving of love. Do you love me? You would keep my commands. Do you love me, Peter? You denied me 3 times, but do you love me? He said, you know all things, you know I love you. So then they were purged and cleansed so that they could be brought into the promise. It wasn't so that they could remain bond. They wouldn't be remaining in bondage. They wouldn't remain in captivity. They were not remaining slaves. He took them from the slavery, cleansed them and purged them, tested whether or not they were walking their way, fed them a new food, fed them something simple and that was good for them and nutritious for them, and then brought them into the promise that they would have abundance and they would have overflow, but not to become complacent, but to be able to operate and live in the new way following him. They turned around and went through a repentance journey and continued in the new way from repentance. They continued in the new life. They continued in the rebirth. And that's what he's giving all of us the opportunity, always, all the time, every day. He's given nations the opportunity. He's given different belief systems and structures the opportunity, different ideologies and theologies that you can take on what is truth, which is the Father, or you can take on these other things. He's reigning over all of it. And so there will be the consequences whether you obey him, whether you receive your rewards in this time like the rich man, whether you just do your own thing, and there will be consequences for you doing your own thing, and it will have implications on not only on your life and those around you. So you can do the thing in Elohim and have it have good consequences and implications for you and those around you, or it could have detrimental consequences and influence in those around you. And even still, he will still have to work together for the good. He will still always preserve those who believe in him, who trust in him, who obey him, who love him, who follow him, who are perfect as he is perfect, who walk in the way, who take up their stake and walk, who do everything, who follow his commands, who keep him as the highest and have no other before him, who love him with his whole heart, with their whole heart, with their whole mind, with their being, with their strength and all their resources, who continue to depend on him above everything else. All of his word will be fulfilled, and that's the thing, it will continue to be fulfilled, whether there are people who are against him or who are for him. He's still working out the greatest plans for his good, for his home, for his body, for his reign, and that includes those who love him. So even though the other people get the crumbs from the table, yes, even the rich and wealthy who don't obey him, they're getting basically his crumbs. They're getting the rain, like the rain drops down, and it seems like they have overflow and abundance. But truly, the true gift and the true those things of the value is the greatest of those who remain with him, because they are taking on the eternal, the long term provision, protection, blessing, covering, life, in exchange for something that is an instant gratification. Do you want Elohim and you want the forever, the eternal gratification, or do you want to go against him or be separate from him and having it only just to have something instantly, but not have what you need eternally? And so he gives us all that opportunity, is bringing into that there is the opportunity for all to receive his abundance eternally. It doesn't have to end. It doesn't have to end. It doesn't just have to be here and now. It doesn't have to just be 5 years, 10 years, 30 years. It doesn't have to just be until 70 if you make it that far. You know what I mean? It can be for eternally. And that's the esteem of Elohim. It always works for his esteem. It always works to exalt his name. It always works to extol him. It always works that he is lifted on high and he's elevated and the Messiah is elevated. It always works that he returns as he said he would. He is life and good as he said. How amazing is that? How much of a gift is that for each and every one of us? The blessing that he gives and the faithfulness that he has towards his people and the love he has for his people is a blessing to everyone, because he's so faithful to himself and to his own people and to his own word. That overflow, that light shines around on everything else anyway. But how much more to be in with his light, to be blended with him, to be one with him, that you can receive of the fullness rather than the shadow, rather than his shadow. You can receive of his fullness. And this is the equating to us being our full identity in him. To why we don't withhold. Why I'm not withholding. Why I am living in the fullness of Elohim. Why I am naked and unashamed. Why I am in the Yarden. Why I am in the Shemayim within me and about me and upon me, and the Father in me and the Ruach upon me and in me, and living in, dwelling in the Shemayim even now, even on earth, as I am in the Shemayim, here and now. One with the Shemayim, one with Elohim, one with the Ruach, one with Messiah, even here and now. I'm not waiting till then. It's here and it's now and it's in me. It's upon me. It's on my lips, my tongue, and everything that Elohim said. And he gave me a new heart. And he gave me to experience of him. And he gave me to know of his thoughts and his heart and his ways and his feelings and the hidden manner and the inner things and the deeper things. Why? Because I love him. And he loves me. He loved me first, that he saved his life, that he came to save us and died for us. But in return, we took up our stake. We would forsake the world and follow him. We gave up all. I was bought with a price. And answered the high calling. Why is it high? Because he's high. He's calling from on high. Come up here where I am. Be with me all the way. Be with me all the time. Be all in with me. Be all in with me. And I say, yes, Yah, I'm all in with you. Be committed to me. Yes, Yah, I'm committed to you. It's not his words. He's like, but we are one. giving you all of my heart, all of my mind, all of my being, all of my strength, all of my resources. They did that in Acts, and Elohim then distributed as it was needed. Nothing missing. Every single day, what did he say? I supply your needs. To where he has enough of his worries of his own, but Elohim supplies every single thing. And so I just thank you, Father, that you're faithful, you're committed, you're righteous, you're faithful even when you're not, but you call your people faithful and righteous and trustworthy and beloved and love and charity and having the belief and hope in the love of you, remaining light and life is salt of the earth. All of it, you're amazing. You're amazing, and you work it to good, for good. And so you're working in, even in all things, and even in the government. But even when those things don't look right, the naked eye doesn't look away. It is so in the Shemaim. You have already overcome the world, and hallelujah, we rejoice, and we are overcomers with you. Shalom and be well. Blessings, Father. Continue to fulfill your desires on earth as in Shemaim. Amen.